In 2048, a pre-crime department was created that had information about every murder that would happen in a few hours. John is a security police agent in the pre-crime department in Washington. In the pre-crime department, 2 red balls were created to symbolize the murder that was going to happen. As a sign of a murder prevention, John started working by joining the screen with other detectives to get information about Case 1108, as John was also getting information about the witnesses of this case, such as Dr. Katarina James and legal expert Frank Pollard, as John watched on the screen how the case would happen after 24 minutes. In this case, it would be Howard Wax who went out to get the daily newspaper, but he had noticed a man on the other side of the road, and he discussed this matter with his wife, who in the form of questions told him how he had noticed when he himself can't see well without glasses. As Howard was asking his wife today to stay and eat lunch together, she refused him all the time, as John got the fixed data of 2 people and started to prevent the tragedy, but his assistant stopped him saying that they have problems with the address of the location. John came back and was researching. Agent Danny Whitwer appeared in the department, who was introduced to John at that moment. John's assistant also found the other person involved in this case, Dwight Kingsley, architect of the 18th century. John, after receiving the last information, went straight to stop this next tragedy. As the husband left for work, he somehow noticed that his wife was cheating on him, and he stopped behind the tree to see what was happening, and after a while came Dwight Kingsley, who entered the house of Howard Wax. John asked his assistant to see if the door was closed, where in less than 30 seconds he was able to stop Howard from committing the murder. One evening, John had gone out for a run, but in a dark alley was Lycon, a blind man who sold the daily dose to John, who consumed it in his deep sadness for his son and wife. The next day at the agency, the director was waiting for him, letting him know that they are in danger for the work they were doing, and he informed John about the controller, Danny, to be careful what he is telling him. If there is a serious problem, to be addressed directly to the director. Danny Whitwer asked questions and asked for explanations that not all cases should be punished and that someone does not manage to commit murder or something criminal. But John told him that the prophecies predicted exactly what would happen and that their cases should be punished. Danny didn't stop there. He let them know that he wanted to know everything, and that he had the right to enter where no one dares, like in the temple. But John asked him to see the certificate that he was the deputy prosecutor of the entire United States, where also Danny Winter showed him and took John's powers. Danny asked them to go to the temple, where Wally worked, who was surprised with them as they entered. But Danny told him that he wanted to know some questions, such as, what do these people feel and see in the temple? Whereup everything they see and feel is shown on the screen. John directly asked Danny what he wanted from their work. He only wanted to know the shortcomings of this invention from the pre-crime department. After everyone left, John was left alone in the temple. As he tried to see if the people saw and felt anything, suddenly Agatha caught John, showing him on the screen what she was experiencing. Wally came immediately to normalize the woman's condition. John, surprised by this reaction, went to the department's archive to get information about the woman who caught him. Her killer was found as a body, but he could not find the real name or real identification because of the mask. But John took the case disc and went to verify it together with the director. During the conversation, the director had received information that John was addicted to drugs and told him to be careful with the fact that Danny Winter was behind every detail of the pre-criminal department. Danny had arrived at John's house and saw the mess he caused himself with the doses taken and the video recordings of his child. The cases have not stopped, but in this case something is going wrong for John. While he was analyzing the next pre-crime, he noticed 2 people participating, but the third person was himself, which he could not believe. And with every condition was tried to disappear from his assistant, but until he reviewed it alone. Wally was also the one who saw the occasion and gave him a time of 2 minutes before informing the department. Johnny ran into the elevator, but there came Danny, who told John that he got the right information to fire him. But John managed to escape from the elevator, hurrying to the location where the crime would take place. John called the director Lamar and told him that Danny had tried to put him in prison. As the director offered him the opportunity to stay in his house until the case was clarified, John refused and started to run away. On the other hand, Danny came to Lamar's office and asked him to clarify what they talked about with John. But Lamar did not show him any conversation. John continued to run away, where his location was found in the subway thanks to the scanner that was attached to his eyes. Police units set out to catch John, but he continued to resist and run away. Danny also came to the location, who personally wanted John's arrest, in a car factory during the fight between John and Danny. John remained under the car production machine, where during the production of the final product, Danny was watching that John did not get out. John was actually in the car inside, making a spectacular escape with car. He came to a mountainous place where there was a doctor named Ines Hinneman. This doctor was the inventor of the pre-criminal department. John asked her how a falsification of the case could happen, as in his case. She told him why she came up with this invention, ignoring what John was asking. But John continued to discover things little by little, discovering that not all people who participated in the pre-crime are guilty. This he could learn for sure by finding the report of the minority who was in the precogs inside the temple and had to take it. In John's office, Danny and his assistants looked at John's case of how he would commit the murder after 22 hours and analyzed where John could be hiding at the moment. Well, Johnny had gone to an eye doctor, getting his eyes changed so as not to be identified based on his eyes and to be heard by the pre-crime department. Danny continued to search, where he had found John's ex-wife and asked her why they were divorced. John had just finished his eye surgery and was ready for recovery, where he listened to the last advice from the doctor, who gave him a dose that John used all the time. While sleeping, John dreamed of the moment with his son Sean. In a pool together, they were playing a game of who stays underwater the longest, where John went under the water to continue the game with his son. Sean suddenly dropped the watch and disappeared. The worried John began to look for his son, where, looking for him, he woke up in a moment of anxiety. Tied with ropes to coordinate in case of hunger, John got up to look for food, but he couldn't find the food that the doctor had left for him in the refrigerator. While the police team was looking for John in the apartment where John was, they released 8 electric spiders to monitor every part where John could be hiding. John, in an attempt to hide, filled a bathtub with water and garbage and entered it. Trying to stay breathless under the water, a small bubble caused the spiders to return and search the same room again. He was caught by the spiders, but from the scan in his implemented eye, they were not able to identify John and started to leave. The next day, during a presentation for the students in the pre-crime department, John came again. He took a shot to make his face look disordered and entered the interior of the department, where with his eyes in his hands, he entered the temple and asked Wooly to help him. While Danny was analyzing the scene of John, how he would commit the murder, he also noticed the 4th person in this case, which was Agatha, where he was aware that he had come to get her. He ran with all the members of the department, but John and Wally had closed every door. As he was told to stay away from the tank, John took Agatha and sent her to pull the valve to absorb the water in the temple and to leave the temple through the pipes. John and Agatha left the temple and were looking for new clothes to wear. Danny continued to research who had helped John and finally came to Rufus Rail. John and Agatha met in Rufus's business and were looking for help to get the next information from Agatha. While getting the information, the same scenes appear again for John, where he becomes a murderer. But he doesn't believe this and asks for the minority report from Agatha. But Agatha goes back to Anna Lively's case as the police officers enter Rufus's business. John and Agatha continue to flee, where in a shopping center she tells of each case what will happen. She directs him and tells him to stay in the middle, where while a balloon man selling them, he covers John and Agatha to hide them for a little moment from the cops. Continuing, Agatha tells a passerby to not go home, and to John she says to give some money to beggar. While the beggar sat down to get the coins, the cops were overthrown on him. As they go out, the rain was falling, and the umbrella owned by John and Agatha covered them by not identifying from the cops due to many umbrellas of the people around them. As they were walking, John saw the poster of the person who was a participant in the murder that would happen. While they arrived in a hotel, and in the hotel register, John observed the name of the person in the murder and asked for his room to see what would happen. Also, the old woman with pipe appeared in lobby. At room 1006, there was nothing first, after they had rotated the number and was a fake room, as he entered the real room with the number 1006. And there he found the photos of his son Sean. While looking at his son's photos in the room crew entered, John without any moment pulled him out because he thought he knew what happened to his son. Passing a moment, crew tells him that his son is alive, but then he says he has strangled him, where the quarrel begins again, creating the same situation as he was seen in the department where John would do the murder. But in the last seconds, Agatha told John that he could choose something else. John chose not to kill him, but crew began to tell the truth about how this was planned, but he has not seen the person who had threatened him. As John decided to leave, it was crew who withdrew to do the murder where it happened. At the place of the murder, Later came Danny and his team. After receiving the evidence, Danny called Lamar and discussed John's case. Anna Leavel's murder also opens on topic, and the facts are different from one another, where Danny explains to Lamar, but Lamar disagrees with these facts that Danny revealed as he killed Danny. John in the car with Agatha was heading to his ex-wife Laura. She phoned Lamar and informed him about John's arrival with Agatha. John was talking to Laura outside as Agatha was looking for something in the house, but she anticipated the location of Sean. During explaining, she tells John to run because the cops had come to arrest him. After John's arrest, Agatha returns to the temple as John was placed in the department prison. Lara went to Lamar to talk and asked who Anna Leavely was, but Lamar was still hesitant to tell the truth. As Lamar left for the conference, Lara found the right way to get to the department prison. Lamar was celebrating the success of the department by taking antique gifts as an old pistol, but at the moment came a mysterious call. Lara asked John's assistant to help John by showing Agatha's thoughts imagined in the conference room, where everyone was celebrating, and suddenly Agatha's thoughts appeared in the film form at a conference where Anna Leavely, after surviving the first attack, who was stopped by the special forces. In the second attempt, it was Lamar himself that killed Anna Leavely. After everything appeared, the red ball came to the department with the name of John, where Lamar came after John, and then the second ball came with the name of Lamar. They met on the upper floor of the department but did not happen as it was foreseen in the department. But Lamar himself committed suicide with the pistol he received as a gift, apologizing to John for what he had done. After this moment in 2054, the pre-criminal department office was abandoned. All prisoners were pardoned and released, as John and Lara were reunited again and Lara was pregnant, while Agatha and twins were transferred to an unknown place and secret to live a quiet life. Please don't forget to support our work by liking this video and hit the subscribe button for the next video.